Well, I'm a senior colonel Jobo, retired from China. In all your speech, what do you want to say? Basically, I can anticipate. It's not a surprise to me, but it is surprising to me to see how you portray China as a devil in the region,
Devil,
while
sabi niya.
yourself look almost like an angel.
Mm.
But let me ask,
Simula pa lang niya, para sinasabi niya, no? Parang kayo, ang labas ninyo, kayo yung mga anghel, napakabubuti ninyo, at ang pinalalabas mo sa presentasyon mo ay napakasama ng China. Yun pa lang, yung intro pa lang to nitong delegado ng China, no? Retired Colonel yata to, kung hindi ako nagkakamali. Tuloy na muna natin, ha? Mga karunungan, kaalaman, teorya, kasaysayan, hiwaga, at mga bagong tuklas. Alamin natin. Ang ating masasaksihan ngayon at mapapanood mga utol ay yung ginanap na South China Sea Conference kamakailan lamang sa Vietnam, mga utol, kung saan napakaraming mga delegado ang umattend at dito inilahad o pinag-usapan yung mga disputes ng mga bansa dito sa sa Indo-Pacific, mga utol. Ngayon, partikular, itong mga nangyayari sa West Philippine Sea. So kung saan diniscuss ngayon ni Dr. J. Tarriella na yung mga ginagawa ng China Coast Guard. Dito po ay nandito rin ng delegado ng China na isang colonel. Okay? At mamaya papanoorin natin kung paano sila magsagutan, kung paano wasakin ni J. Tarriella yung mga akusasyon nitong nasabing Chinese delegate. Okay mga utol, painggan muna natin yung paglalahad niya tungkol sa ginagawa ng China Coast Guard dyan sa ating mga teritoryo o sa West Philippine Sea o partikular, game na.
Chinese administration reveals its true purpose. It is contrary to the traditional Coast Guard roles focused on maritime safety, marine environmental protection, and maritime law enforcement. Therefore, the rise of the White House among the Southeast Asian countries is a positive development since it strengthens the maritime order to ascertain that the sea trade routes that affect the global economy is safe, the marine environment is protected, the nefarious activities are suppressed, and that the territorial disputes are de-escalated if we're only going to talk about the Southeast Asian countries creating their own Coast Guard. However, it is very significant to mention that China Coast Guard does not align with the prevailing regional Coast Guard norm that Japan, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, and even the South Asian Coast Guards is supporting. China Coast Guard is the only Coast Guard in Asia that puts the white painted hulls of the Coast Guards in the gray zone. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat.
Ang sinasabi niya dito mga utol, medyo pinorward ko na kasi. Ang sinasabi niya, lahat ng Coast Guard dito sa mga bahay natin bansa, including yan, mga Vietnam, yung mga binanggit niya mga bansa, nagkakasundo naman at maayos naman ang pagpapatrolya sa mga teritoryo. Ang bukod tanging lumilikha ng gulo at mali ng ginagawa, etong China Coast Guard. Yun yung dinudulog niya dyan sa conference na yan, ng mapag-usapan. At mamaya, papanoorin natin etong naging tugon ng kanilang delegado. Eto na. Forward muna natin mga utol. Isang part dito eh. May isang part dito. Eto na mga utol. Eka lang ha. Forward lang natin. Sige.
And
Question and answer kasi itong part na to eh.
Much more number of Coast Guard vessels. I would argue that it has really influenced now the countries among the claimant states in the South China Sea. The Philippines has been building up its Coast Guard fleet. You can also see that from Vietnam, also Malaysia, and even Bakamla of Indonesia. All of us are building our own Coast Guard in a way that we can counter-respond with the presence of the China Coast Guard.
Na ay sinasabi niya. Ang nagiging problema dito sa South China Sea ay yung ginagawa ng China Coast Guard kung saan sila lamang naman talaga ang lumilikha ng dispute o gulo. Dahil lahat nga daw ng Coast Guard, according kay J. Tarriella, maayos naman ang mga samahan. Okay? Eto maya-maya mapapakinggan natin yung sagot ng isang kernel, no? Na parang inakusahan pa na tinawag na barbaric ang ating Philippine Coast Guard, mga utol. At panoorin na rin natin kung paano yun tutugunan o sasagutin ni J. Tarriella. Tuloy na muna natin.
But to that, related also to that third question, will the increased number of Coast Guard vessels will eventually trigger a much more bigger armed conflict? I don't think so. I still have this belief that Coast Guards among the region, particularly here in Southeast Asia, we have this kind of professional understanding among Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and
yun.
Philippines that we're not going to be that aggressive or aggressive to each other in a way that will be the cause of the conflict. We can see that from how Malaysian Coast Guard, Vietnam Coast Guard, and even Philippine Coast Guard passes through each other in the South China Sea. We don't provoke each other. We have our own respect in those territories that we are currently occupying, that we are all patrolling. I think our friend from Bakamla will also be able to strengthen this answer that I'm giving now. We have that kind of professional understanding of our limitations. And also to add, as I said with my presentation, it's only China who bullies each other of us in the among the claimant states.
Ayan, mga utol, no? So, maayos ang relasyon ng mga iba't ibang bansa o iba't ibang Coast Guard ng iba't ibang bansa bukod sa China. Yun yung po yung pinupunto lamang ni J. Tarriella dito. Okay, mga utol, para lamang malinawan tayo kasi hindi ko po kinuha ng buo. Pero yun po yung nilalahad niya, yung pinepresent niya sa mga nandyan, sa mga delegado ng South China Sea Conference sa Vietnam na ito'y via video call, no? No, sinasabi niya na okay naman kami nitong mga kaitbahay namin bansa kahit magkasalubong kami, hindi naman kami nagkakaroon ng mga provocations o yung mga kagaya ng ginagawang pangaharas o pambubuli ng China. Bukod tanging China ang gumagawa ng mga pambubuli at pangaharas sa mga claimants dyan sa mga teritoryong inaagaw nila. Okay? Eto na, malapit na tayo doon sa exciting part, kumbaga.
They are being aggressive and provoking towards Bakamla in Natuna Islands. They have also been very aggressive in responding to the presence of Vietnam Coast Guard and also with the Philippine Coast Guard and MMEA. So if there's only one deviant behavior among the Coast Guards in the region, that would be the China Coast Guard. But among us, Southeast Asian countries who have the professional understanding and also knows how significant our roles is in maritime governance and also in maintaining this maritime order, that is not a problem that will come across between Southeast Asian Coast Guard organizations.
Eto na, mga utol, papasok na
Thank you
yata
very
yung
much, Dr. J, for
papasok na.
setting the stage for exciting presentations from our other three speakers. May I invite the audience perhaps to give a round of applause to Dr. J. But before that, I think we have just one last question from the floor.
Eto na, yung
please.
Chinese delegate.
Well, I'm Senior Colonel Zhou, retired from China. In all your speech, what do you want to say? Basically, I can anticipate. It's not a surprise to me, but it is surprising to me to see how you portray China as a devil in the region.
Devil.
While yourself look almost like an angel. But let me ask.
Simula pa lang niya, para sinasabi niya, no? Parang kayo, ang labas ninyo, kayo yung mga anghel, napakabubuti ninyo at ang pinalalabas mo sa presentasyon mo ay napakasama ng China. Yun pa lang, yung intro pa lang to nitong delegado ng China, no? Retired Colonel yata to kung hindi ako nagkakamali. Tuloy na muna natin, ha?
Your question that I talked yesterday. In 2000 and in 2013, Filipino Coast Guard killed Chinese fishermen from Thailand Island and from Taiwan. Why were you so barbaric to kill Chinese fishermen? And why a country that is never stronger militarily than China could behave so barbarically against the innocent Chinese fishermen? And is it because that you believe these fishermen are so innocent, so can do anything against them? And is it because the Chinese policy toward you at that time was so tolerant that we did nothing against you, so you could do that?
Yan mga utol, no? Tinawag na barbaric ang Philippine Coast Guard. Yun ang sagot niya, no? Yun ang tanong niya, no? Kung bakit nyo ginawa yan sa Chinese fisherman back in the day, no? Year 2000 and 2013, na may pinaslang di umano na Chinese fisherman ang Philippine Coast Guard. So tinawag na barbaric na kahit na alam nyo napakahina ng inyong militar, sobrang lakas namin, ginagawa nyo yan. Ginagawa nyo ba yan dahil mabait kami sa inyo? Yun yung sinasabi niya mga utol eh. So aantayin natin yung sagot ni J. Tarriella sa kanya mga utol dahil napakaganda ng kanyang sagot dito. Okay, tuloy na natin ha. Eto na yun.
So is it something that China should reflect to extend that we have to increase our presence with a stronger Coast Guard? Please tell me frankly.
I'll be very frank in responding to your question. Thank you for using the word barbaric. Coast Guards in the region, not just the Philippine Coast Guard, is not a barbaric. You were mentioning about the shooting incident in Taiwan in 2013 and also a maritime incident that happened between the Philippine Navy and Vietnam. All of this were already diplomatically settled now. We now have established a good relationship with Taiwan and also with Vietnam. But here's the thing now. Among the countries in the region, we all have a positive diplomatic relationships in discussing the South China Sea. And all of these countries have issues with the China Coast Guard and the Chinese Maritime Militia pretending to be Chinese fishing vessels.
Tama.
You keep on mentioning the word barbarism. But as I said, we abide with the international rules-based order. With the images and videos that we have already presented to the international community, in which I know that the People's Republic of China is not really pleased. We have portrayed the word that you are saying, but I'm not going to use that against you. I think the transparency initiative that we have been espousing for the past months is a clear understanding of what the word barbarism is. Because Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines will always abide with the international rules-based order. I just don't know whether People's Republic of China is also willing to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think let's give.
Ayun mga utol, no? Napaka-professional nung sagot o tugon ni J. Tarriella at sinasabi niya na lahat kami dito sumusunod sa itinakda ng international law. Kayo lamang yung hindi. So yung mga nangyari, sinasabi nyo na yan, nasettle na po yan. Na-discuss na at tapos na yan. Ang pinag-uusapan dito, yung ginagawa ninyo. Bakit kayo lamang ang gumagawa ng mga kaguluhan dito? Anong masasabi nyo mga utol? Di ba? Medyo mahaba pa yan pero yun lang yung exciting part na pinakita ko sa inyo. Anong masasabi nyo mga utol? Talagang ginigiit ng China, no? Na tama kami. Palaging ganun na nila. Kahit dito sa discussion na to, napakahaba nito, isang 9 hours at isang 8 hours to mga utol. Yung conference na ito, 2 araw. Isang 9 hours at isang 8 hours. No, napakahaba. Lahat ng mga nangyari ay diniscuss po at hindi lamang Asian countries ang nandito. Nandyan din ang UK, ang France, kung ano-ano pang mga bansa. Napakaraming delegado. At dininig lamang nila kung ano mga nangyayari dyan. Siyempre, to come up with a solution. Ngayon, sana naman kung anong solusyon ang mapagkasunduan, sana ay sumunod rin ang China. Kasi alam natin na hindi sila sumusunod. Ang lagi nilang pinalalabas, tama sila. O anong masasabi nyo dyan mga utol? Pa-comment na lang. Ito po'y galing pala sa South China Sea Studies. Okay? Hanggang doon lang muna. Muli ako si Target Achilles. Paki-comment na lang ang inyong opinion. Hanggang doon muna ako si Target Achilles. In behalf of the Real South Pride Production, ako nagpapasalamat sa walang sawa niyo pagsuporta. Kayo mag-iingat. Keep safe. God bless. Saludo po sa inyo lahat. Maraming salamat po.